Do you like danger? Do you like adventure? New biomes? This little squirt? How about some zany weapons? New bosses? All this and more in the spookiest mod to ever hit Terraria modding, the Spooky Mod. Good All Hallows Eve, spookies and ghouls, and welcome to the Spooky Mod, a Halloween-themed mod for Terraria. Several new bosses, new biomes, and tons of new gear to carry you throughout progression, from the start of the game all the way to the Moon Lord. I am Bedrock Burger, your local consumer of Publix chicken tender subs. Of course, shameless promotion time. Do the usual liking and subscribing that everyone tells you to do, and make sure to check out all the lovely links in the description, from sources of the music in the background to the thumbnail artist, and even the sponsor of today's video. Speaking of that, sponsors! Building or growing your small business, losing jobs because customers go with whoever replies first, your customers want answers instantly or they move on. With the Quote Makers, your website will give instant quotes, book jobs automatically, help you schedule an invoice, and make you look super professional, all in one place. I know this guy IRL and he built the site all on his own. It's a total game changer if you run a small business. Make sure to check out thequotemakers.com and use code BURGER50 at checkout for a whopper of a deal, 50% off for your first 3 months. Check it out today, and thank you Quote Makers and Omar for sponsoring this video. With all the shenanigans of the intro out of the way, let's begin this new adventure of the spookiest mod for Terraria. Plus a few quality of life mods that would be considered borderline cheating, as all quality of life mods are. With a character and world made on Master Mode, I spawned inside the Spooky Forest, a variant of the regular forest, but with a full underground to explore and loot. I wouldn't go down there immediately, as I'd rather explore the surface for easy loot first. Inside the Spooky Forest, there's also a tiny house with this little dude, Lil Bone, who acts as a guide for this mod. Right now, he told me that I should kill myself, explore the Spooky Forest underground, to which I said hell nah, and just kept looking around on the surface. I did find a finch staff, which is nice, and kept exploring, hoping to find... you gotta be kidding me. Okay, fine, to the Spooky Forest underground. There was some TNT at the entrance to help getting into it, so down I went. This underground is a bit different from regular underground, as there's chests all over the place inside tiny structures that contain starter loot, like a bag of treats, a couple of weapons, and this job application. Wait, what? I also found a pump-action leaf blower, a ranged weapon that did really low damage, but it fired fast, which I like weapons that fire fast. To go with it, a carton of eggs. Not kidding. It shot out eggs every 6 ranged shots. When returning to the surface, after finding a whistle that I could use on pets, I tamed a turkey using a rotten gourd. Yes, you can ride the turkeys. It's kind of funny. You can't pet them though. They're not invincible, however, as I so found out when the second night of this run had a blood moon on it and my turkey was killed by the enemies. So sad. Can this video get 10,000 likes? Anyways, Elevator Creator. Bam! Back into the spooky underground. When I killed a zomboid warlock, I got its skull as a summon item. I was aiming to do a mage run for this mod, but summon items just keep falling into my lap, and this mod actually has gear that encourages a mixed mage summon playstyle, so that's exactly what I did. Mage, but with summons. Speaking of mage, I found a few mage items as well in the spooky underground. A creepy candle that set enemies on fire from mage damage, and Necromancy for Dummies, a mage spellbook that chopped corpse parts. No, not those corpse parts. After a bit of looting, I decided to get a job. By that, I mean check out where the job application was pointing towards. Using another elevator, I descended until I reached a new structure from this mod, Krampus's Workshop. Yes, Christmas stuff in a Halloween mod. It had more early game loot, probably the best being the moon shoes, giving me a bunch more jumps and a boing sound. In the center, however, was Krampus himself, and he had a job for me. Well, surely the second one won't be so bad. Okay then. From these lethal deliveries, I was given a large present that had workshop loot, and one item in particular I received was actually insanely strong for early game. the Bottomless Snowbag, which shot a stream of snow really fast. It has low damage on the item card, but fired so fast it actually did so much more damage. Another weapon later on is similar to this, you'll see. I continued the present delivery, killing more of my NPCs until I was given a present to give to Little Eye. This little dude was in one of the new biomes in this mod, but I'd get to that later on. First, progression. Bombing a Crimson Heart to trigger a goblin invasion. This is a corruption world, but I have both biomes because modded. I got to max health, then the goblins invaded. It was a long battle, as goblin invasions usually are, but after throwing a ton of snow at them, I came out on top. I always do, except when Martians invade. To get stronger gear, I dove into the jungle in hopes to get jungle armor. It really is the best pre-Eye of Cthulhu armor, you know? Also, Mage! Another elevator. During my descent, I entered into a new biome, which according to the wiki is called the Fetid Farm. I honestly called it the Bloom when I was playing through this, but that works too. I found the goblin, then explored this new biome. Inside are plant-themed enemies, like a garlic thing, potato enemies, and spicy jalapenos. There's also some harvestable plants that give buffs. This is a new bloom buff mechanic, which I didn't fully understand until way later, but some bosses drop seeds for bloom soil, and I can find seeds in this biome. Eating the fruits gives me a bunch of buffs. Right now I just had 2, but I could unlock more later. I didn't know how to plant these seeds yet, but I'd still take the mage plant, as it gives bonus mage damage while active alongside spawning a small green ball when dealing mage damage that releases homing projectiles when I hit it. It would come in use during boss fights. And when I returned home, I got to accessory combining, because progression skipping. I made the bundle of balloons, Terra Spark boots, and the magnet flower for accessories, and then jungle armor to get good armor. It's now Eye of Cthulhu time. Vanilla boss fights will be sped up as you've seen them a billion times. This mod doesn't change these fights, which I'm okay with. With the eye dead, not too much changes actually, but hey, I can do the next boss, which is the first spooky mod boss, the Rot Gourd, summoned with an item obtained by breaking rotten gourds in the spooky forest. Forest? I can't speak English sometimes. Anyways, boss fight time. Normal speed though, as is a modded boss. Gored down, and man, I sucked at this fight. Inside his treasure bag, it held a gourd carving kit, an item from its loot pool, and rotten chunks, which could craft stuff in its loot pool or summon armor set. Its expert mode item makes flies over time that gave defense, but they flee for 30 seconds when you take damage. With these chunks, I made Jerry's Book of Stinkology, which was similar to the bottomless snowbag, but worse. Longer range, but much slower speed. Much slower speed. This bag also held a compass, one that pointed towards one of the new biomes, the Spider Grotto. I killed King Slime, then followed this compass. It led to the Spider Grotto, a spider-infested biome with some small structures inside, but one bigger one in the center. In the center structure, there seemed to be pieces that would unlock something, so of course, I searched for all the pieces. There we go. Yep, gotcha. Oh, he's a NPC for rangers. Well, I'll take your fleshy compass first, then bye! I returned to exploration and found another new biome for the mod, the Swampy Cemetery, home of the catacombs and a rave events on some nights. Not joking. In one of the chests on the surface, some broken EMF reader parts required to summon the boss at the entrance to the catacombs. When I fixed that at least. But that comes later, as now I had the fleshy compass. I could kill the Eater of Worlds with the snowbag, then visit Little Eye in his home within the Valley of Eyes biome on one side of the underworld. Little Eye has bounties to kill some mini-bosses and a cauldron next to him to craft some special weapons. I gave him the present from Krampus, and this time it didn't kill him. Thankfully, it didn't kill him. Instead, Cornelius. Yay! Krampus's reward this time was a pylon for his workshop, but it didn't require NPCs nearby, fortunately. After getting the pylon, a meteorite landed, and now for the most satisfying thing about modded Terraria. Love it. Next up, the bounties from Little Eye. Not every Spookymon biome had a bounty, but a few did. All bounties, however, had an accessory exclusive to it and a Master Mode trophy. First up, Frank the Goblin in the Spooky Forest. It had a lot of health, but I eventually killed it. Turning in the bounty, it gave me a threat accessory that latched onto enemies, dealing damage and piercing. Before doing the other bounties, my damage when putting Frank down was pretty poor, so I wanted to use some progression first. I made meteor armor and the space gun, then decided to take on the next Spookymon boss, the Spooky Spirit in the Swampy Cemetery. To summon him, I had to use the EMF reader on the statue above the catacombs. Boss time! When it went down, it dropped a key, the first one for the catacombs, and the first of a couple of keys. I wouldn't go down just yet as I had a few tasks to do, but inside the treasure bag for the spooky spirit, it gave a weapon from its set and a piece of armor for a full armor set. This armor set was a general set, not really benefiting a specific class, but instead just generally buffing damage. It also turned your head into a turret, which was actually kinda neat and surprisingly useful. For the rest of the bounties, the next one was for the Swampy Cemetery, the Tome of Spirits. This one was a long fight, but these spirits got exercise in American fashion, aka I shot them. For the rewards, the accessory, the Tome of Spirits, allowed you to choose one of 3 modes. Red Spirit gave bonus melee and range damage, green gave bonus melee and summon damage, and blue gave 10 defense and increased life regen. Really strong accessory that I'd actually used for quite a while, primarily on blue or green modes, as I don't need any ranged or melee damage. The next bounty I do was for the Spider Grotto, and of course it was a big spider. Don't watch this video if you have arachnophobia. Its accessory turned any poison-related debuff into a positive one, useful for Queen Bee and not much else. Honestly, I can't really think of many other places that deal the debuffs that it gives you immunity to. The final bounty that I took care of for now was in the Valley of Eyes. It was for Big Eye, a bigger version of Little Eye. This one was honestly the easiest as it went down without much issue. Its accessory spawned an eye that increased damage dealt when the eye was looking at the target. Probably should have tried it out, but I didn't feel like it. Accessory slots are a bit competitive, even with the wing slot. The next night after defeating the spooky spirit, a rave in the cemetery started. This event happens rarely at nights, but is guaranteed after you defeat a spooky mod boss. During this event, no enemies spawn in the swamping cemeteries, but some chill skeleton dudes appear. One of them even sells items that go into 2 mega accessories later on, gaining more items to sell as this run goes on, with them able to be combined all the way at post Moon Lord. I revisit this rave as the run went on, as this guy gets more items as I defeat bosses, so I really won't just mention every time I go here, because just assume if I kill a spooky mod boss, I go to the rave. All of these accessories were based on either analog horrors or creepypastas, and I have no idea which ones they're from, cause that's a fandom I've never been a part of, so these references just go right over my head. After the rave ended, I used the key that the spooky spirit dropped to open the catacombs, and descended into it. These catacombs, a new structure, were cursed, so I could barely see and couldn't break blocks. There were some new enemies and chests around, even some trapped ones. Unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot for me in this structure, and at the bottom of this layer was a snoozing flower blocking the way to get to the next layer. I needed the hard mode souls to get the item to wake it up, so the catacombs were complete for me for now. Unfortunately, not too much for me here. The next boss on the list to render into a pile of gore was the Queen Bee, so I made a super bomber and blew up Malaysia. I also blew up a large hole in the jungle, made an abomination, and took on the Queen Bee. It didn't really go down with too much trouble. I am actually pretty good at this fight. Not to pat myself on the back, but I'm pretty good at Queen Bee, you know? Anyways, bee gun time. I found the dungeon and then went further on to the ocean on that side, as there's a new biome on the dungeon side ocean. A small house on the shore held metal plates which could be made into a bomb. Not kidding. Inside the biome under the ocean, there was loot crates with the other bomb pieces inside, and a magic weapon, the blood sprayer. There was also something else in this biome, stalking me. It's Big Dunk, a mini-boss that I need the bomb for, but again, that's for hard mode, as it needed hallowed bars. Because I needed to progress now, to get these hollow bars, I took on Skeletron, and it was a hard-fought battle, where I almost lost who am I kidding? I fought Skeletron so many times that this fight was a breeze, even on Master Mode. The blood sprayer was actually pretty solid, dealing good damage. The bee gun was, superior of course, but this weapon was still great. Like a shotgun with bullet drop-off, and blood. With Skeletron down, all I needed was just a single item from the dungeon, the water bolt. Yoink! All done. For the next boss, as it's Terraria where we go from boss to boss to boss until we ontologically erase him from the game, it was another spooky mod boss, Moko. Or is it Mako? I'm gonna say Moko. Underneath the Valley of Eyes, a structure for the cultists of Moko. Each room I had to defeat some cultists until I got to the fire exit, which led me to the final room with Nosferatu, a flying mini-boss. It actually dropped some really good wings and a cotton squab, which I could use to summon and slay the big nose. It took me like 4 attempts. This guy is a health tank. But anyways, enjoy the successful fight. With Moko down, it dropped a sentient heart, which could be used to make an array of strong weapons using Little Eye's cauldron. Not yet though, as treasure bags need to be opened. There was a variety of Bogre-themed items, like weapons and its expert mode item, which honestly I forgot what it does, because I just didn't write it down on my outline. But using the materials that are from the treasure bag, I made the Snot-Nosed Tome and the Sneeze Scepter, a mage tome and a summon weapon, respectfully. The Snot-Nosed Tome seemed good, I don't know? Not sure. I honestly immediately replaced it with the sentient heart weapon, the Necronomicon, which needed a Book of Skulls. This Necronomicon was good, as it shot skulls that latched onto enemies and continued damaging, and brother, it was high damage. Just watch how it absolutely demolishes the wall of flesh until I swap to the water bolt, because the water bolt is just that good. With the wall down, it's time for hard mode. I started as usual by smashing a bunch of demon altars, giving my war Palladium, Orichalcum, and I don't even care about what the third one is because I have Orichalcum. As per usual with early hard mode, ore collecting. I skipped over Palladium entirely, just getting the pickaxe. I got a bunch of Orichalcum, but didn't make the armor yet as I had a weapon upgrade to make with whatever the tier 3 ore is. I honestly don't remember what it is, I really didn't care about it. But this upgrade was the Super Blood Soaker, the upgrade to the Blood Soaker from earlier. It was just the Blood Soaker, but stronger. I made Orichalcum armor, then the Heavy Brick, the item to wake up the flower boss at the bottom of the catacombs for Slayer. I got my ass kicked, so I turned to the mech bosses. Pause. I now had Souls of Fright, which could make a new weapon, the Davy Jones's Fridge. You know how I said high fire rate means big damage? Yeah, this weapon would literally carry me up to the cultist. It fired fish at really high speed, so I took on Daffodil with it. Daffodil down. It dropped the key to the next layer of catacombs, which I went right to exploring. It also gave a spade item, which allowed me an additional bloom buff. Still didn't know how to plant them. Not yet. In the next layer of the catacombs, I found a summon weapon, the Soul Scepter, which summoned a couple of little dudes depending on which mode I activated. I also made my way to the Pandora's Box, a mini-event within this layer. It summoned a few waves of ghosts of various types and a mini-boss at the end. Upon victory, the box dropped an accessory that was part of a larger accessory, the Almalgul. To combine them, I need ectoplasm, so I shimmered until I got one of each, and equipped the Samson's Cuff accessory, which attached a chain to enemies every so often, making it to where I deal a whopping 50% more damage while attached to the enemy. With it, the twins. Yeah, they kind of just died. It was a really easy fight. With the twins dead and their souls obtained, I made the Pickaxe Axe, then went back to the Valley of Eyes. The final bounty from Little Eye was now unlocked with all 3 mechs dead, and I was given the Acidic Concoction, which I could use on the egg in the biome to start the Egg Incursion, an event where I had to survive for 5 minutes to remove the shield on the egg. There were accessories that enemies dropped during this event, like new wings and some chompers, which dealt additional damage as I dealt damage. I completed the event, and the shield was opened. I got my ass whooped on the first attempt for the boss, so I'd come back later. I finally learned how to do the bloom system with all the buffs, as it turns out I was just missing the actual soil to plant them, called bloom soil. My smooth brain thought bloom soil was the dirt from the fetid farm with the grass from the biome spread over it, but nah, bloom soil is actually crafted from any dirt, mud, and jungle spores. I planted a bunch, and now I'm a gardener burger. I'm a man of many careers here on this burger channel. Just wait for me to become a nuclear physicist when I go and do Greg Tech. I'd go back and forth between all the bloom seeds I've collected, gathering tons of new buffs, although right now I only have 3 slots for buffs. With this knowledge and new buffs, I took on Oro and Boro again. With the 2 down, their bag held materials to make some new stuff, a weapon, and their expert mode item, which allowed a revive when you died with a cooldown. During the cooldown, you gained a small amount of crit chance. What was the cooldown? 10 minutes! That is a bit much. Yeah, that's just going in my storage and I'm never seeing it again. With the materials from Oro and Boro, I made a Swarm Scepter and a Living Retina Staff, a Summon Weapon, and a Mage Weapon. Both were good, but frankly the Davy Jones's fridge was just too good. I also made the Gore Armor set, with the variant that buffs Mage and Summon damage. The other one buffed melee and range, but this one's set bonus spawned a mini Ouroboros to fight with me. How cute. I then went back and did more egg incursions, as I wanted to get the mega accessory tied to this event. After a bunch of murder, then shimmering, I was able to craft the total organ package, which combined the effects of all of them. They are as follows. Damage summons jaws that munch for more damage. 10% critical strike chance. Life stealing vein that attaches to enemies. Kills give enemies a stomach ache and they explode. Kidney stones shoot after not using items for a few seconds. Hotkey cough up that deals damage. And finally, extra projectiles when you attack. Whew, what a mouthful. Anyways, see Plantera? Yeah, Plantera got absolutely clapped by the power of Magic Flamethrower. Be glad you actually don't have to hear this fight, because the ear side of the organ package is, it's pretty loud. It's like every couple of shots, you just pew, 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 pew. Inside the dungeon, once more, all I needed was the Magnosphere and a bunch of Ectoplasm. Magnosphere for an upgrade I could make, and Ectoplasm for Mage Armor, and the Amalgam from earlier. Totally didn't forget about it. Anyways, with the Magnosphere, I made the Necronomicon Volume 2, which shot out a controllable heart that dealt damage. This thing was total dog water. Next, Biome Keys. With Plantera dead, the chest could be open now in all biomes except the ocean one, and the tar pits have one. What's the tar pits? Honestly, I didn't know this biome existed until I was looking at the wiki after finishing this run. Apparently it's a biome in the underground desert, but I never went to the underground desert, so no tar pits for this video. Or Spook Fishron. I farmed in the swampy cemetery for a while, as the biome key chest for that biome held a mage item that shot homing rainbow skulls. A good weapon, but fridge. I totally forgot to make Spectre armor at that point, so I fought Golem with the Gore set, which was way outclassed at this point, but I still took Golem down, as it's Golem, and got a new key to the final layer of the Catacombs, where the final boss of the Spooky mod was. Using beetle husks, I made the freaky fertilizer to summon said boss. I then made a destroyer emblem, and finally remembered to make Spectre armor, not the healing one, the damage one. I did a solar eclipse to get Mothron wings, then crafted the Almalgul, which combined all the Pandora's box accessories into one. We have makes Moth like mana, press a hotkey to release sound waves that damages myself and the enemy, healing hands that home in on you, and the puff from earlier. Shout out to Mega Accessories, we love them here at Bedrock Burger. With this new accessory, it was time to finally fight the final boss of the Spooky mod, Big Bone, the older brother of Lil Bone, who we found at the very start of this mod. Big Bone down. Cool fight. With his treasure bag, I got a few neat things. Big Bone's left shoe, not sure how that works, but it gave me a major increase in horizontal speed and made homing flowers depending on how fast I was going. I also got the Flame Orb Staff, which could left click to launch a spread of bouncing projectiles or right click to be a homing sniper. Really fun, honestly. Afterwards, I bought the final accessories from the vendor in the cemetery rave, but I couldn't combine them until I had Luminae. So with these accessories all obtained, it's now time for the final stretch of this run. Only 2 bosses left. Cultist! He kinda just died, as this boss was no match for fiery snipers. Pillars! Nebula first, of course, so I can make the Nebula blaze, and finally give up on the fridge. Stardust next. Then Solar Pillar. I made the Stardust Dragon Staff and the Master Ninja Gear, then took down the Vortex Pillar. Now, with some new bloom buffs and a 4th slot thanks to Big Bone, I was ready for the Moon Lord, the final boss of this run. And with that, the Moon Lord is defeated, and this run is complete. Almost. With the Luminite from its corpse, I made the Creepypasta and the Apocalypse Mixtape, 2 mega accessories from the Cemetery Raid vendor. The Creepypasta does the following. Gives you crosshair damaging sparrow stacks, and each stack lots give 2% crit chance. Puppy, crits make no set attack enemies, tentacles that hentai artists will be jealous of that buffs themselves on enemy kill, damaging ghosts on every 25 instances of damage on enemy, and hotkey to summon lightning to absolutely destroy everything. Very good accessory, actually worth it. Never tested the lightning though. The Apocalypse Mixtape spawn stuff that saps enemies' health, allows you to sub-water enemies with hotkey press, makes moving spawn debuffs on enemies, makes an order moon that attacks enemies and gives you damage, gives enemies lead poisoning, and gives you a glass pyramid that protects you for 5 hits. With these accessories and nebula armor, I decided to end off this run with a pumpkin moon, as I never did one on progression. While it plays, I just want to thank you all for making it this far into the video, and also I wanted to give a small review of this mod, critical feedback, downsides, as if there are any, and upsides. This mod is simply amazing. So much passion clearly went into each and every item, enemy, ally, and boss I encountered. If I were to give critique, because I simply don't hate anything in this mod, is that I was hoping for a mega accessory out of Krampus's Workshop accessory. All of them are really unique, but not super strong in my use of them, so having them individually wouldn't be too great, but having all of them together would be even better. It would also be cool to follow the theme of mega accessories like the Egg Incursion, Creepypastas, Analog Horror Stuff, and Pandora's Box. The other piece of feedback I'd give, because realistically I don't have any actual legit problems with this mod, is a compass or something to lead players to the tar pits, as I had zero idea that Bion existed until I checked the wiki as I was typing the script. I enjoy blind runs, so that's what I did for this mod. I also miss Spook Fishron entirely as well, as that's a secret boss, and I couldn't find anything in game that said how to summon it. These aren't really too important or major of critiques, but they're the only ones I actually thought of, which really goes to show just how good this mod is. I do a downside segment, but the only downside I could think of is that there isn't more. Not every mod has to be as big as Calamity, but I wish there was just more content in this mod with this high of quality. I last played this mod way back over 2 years ago, and the mod has upheld its high quality and add more content that fits perfectly in a run. I'm really glazing this mod, but it is just that good. Absolutely a highlight of the Terraria modding community, which fits because the lead developer also made that one really good mod back in 1.345 that I can't think of off the top of my head right now. Ultimatum or something? I can't remember the exact name. The names escape me. Also, the lead developer of this mod did the reworks to the Abyss and Sunken Sea for Calamity a few years ago, so the lead developer of Spooky Mod is insanely talented. For upsides of this mod, there is so many. I could go on for hours, but I'm going to keep it short. All the bosses are incredible, with unique movesets, great quality sprites, and a lot have unique spawn methods that differs from just LOL catch the spawn item and summon it in your arena, bozo, and I like that. Makes you adapt and build on the fly and explore more of the world. Each biome, save for the tar pits that I didn't find, were also excellent. All unique, each with its own mechanic. Swampy Cemetery with its EMF reading, catacombs, and ghost stuff, as well as the Cemetery Rave. The Fetid Farm with its interesting enemies and bloom buff mechanic, the Valley of Eyes with its awesome variety of enemies and great event, and the Ocean Biome with its aesthetic and great weapons all complementing one another to make the world of Terraria just much more interesting to explore. This mod is genuinely one of my favorites mods I've played, probably my actual favorite, and every run I do just makes me want to do it again. Next Halloween though, I'll probably make it a channel tradition. I don't like number ratings, so I won't give a number rating, but I very, very highly recommend this mod to anyone who loves Terraria and just wants more Terraria. Probably don't combine it with other large content mods like Calamity so you don't mess things up. And with that, we complete this lengthy video. If you enjoyed, give me a good rating so the algorithm can boost this video further. More Terraria coming soonish. I already have a plan for what mod I want to play next, so stay tuned for... It's Calamity. I'm playing Calamity next. You know I have to. It's the biggest mod of all time, and it still hasn't released a Sunken Sea update a full year after announcing it, so I'm playing it next. Thank you all for coming and watching. Bedrock Burger, out.